you sense one of your friends, Hoodle?
You all arrived here from Cislodia, yes? In that case, you should depart via the south gate, rather than the one you arrived through.
After all that, Kisara never came back to see us.
I'm surprised she slipped away without us noticing. Where would she even go? I hope this place survives. You think the Danins and Renins have a chance of getting along? We didn't really do much to change things around here, did we?
This realm had its own walls to overcome. And in the end, it was the people themselves who decided to break them down, without any help from us. I hope they keep going, I really do.
Yeah, well, if you say so, I guess. Huh?
All right. I leave command of the Gold Dust Cats in your hands.
You've got nothing to worry about, Kisara. I'll do your brother proud.
Looks like it's time to go. Take good care of Zare for me. All right, Legil?
You've got it. Stay safe, Kisara.
Did you come to say goodbye?
Actually, I was wondering if you could use another companion.
Huh?
Well, we certainly don't mind you coming along. We just figured you'd stay behind and help rebuild. These people could use you.
I thought much the same thing. However, in the end, something changed my mind. Ever since Miguel died, I've been thinking a lot. About where I went wrong, what I should have done differently. You know, that sort of thing. It's true that our dream of coexistence saved many Danin lives, but we were naive and short-sighted. I was so wrapped up in my idea of how things should be that I didn't see the problems that existed right in front of us. I thought we had been given a utopia. And so I never bothered to look too far past its surface. I chose to be ignorant. And because of that, because of me, my brother...
Miguel's death wasn't your fault, Kisara.
Perhaps you're right. But in the end, it was me he entrusted this dream to. I learned that nothing in this life is free, or gained without sacrifice. Now that I know that, I'll just have to figure out what else I don't know.
So, decided to join us?
I have. And hopefully I can continue to protect Eldam and Sia from outside the dream world, for the sake of those still inside.
And here I thought you joined for an opportunity on my life.
In all honesty, I'm grateful to you. I truly am. I don't blame you for what happened. But I must also leave your service. No longer will I be defined by protecting a Renin lord. From now on, when I fight to protect my dream. All I ask is that you do your part, that you fight alongside me, not just for those who used to believe in your dream, but for those that still do. Dohalim.
I understand. I'm no longer a lord anyway.
Well, this crew just gets bigger and bigger. All right, where to, team?
We make for Mahag Sar, the Valley of the Four Winds.
something.
Mahag Sar. That makes 4 out of the 5 realms that I've visited now.
I wonder what kind of...
I won't forgive you! Great fear! Pierce evil! Photon blade!
If they rush me, you gotta just recover, okay?
These little ones are hardly worth our time.
Less talking, more pummeling.
Cut them apart!
Quite necessary when creating weaponry.
A fish!
I didn't realize there was a pond here.
Yeah, this is Taka Pond. And it happened to have saved my life once upon a time.
What do you mean?
As a kid, I survived life under the past lords by escaping here when I needed to. It's terrible to swim in, but great for catching a bite for dinner away from Renin eyes. Bear in mind, our rations back then weren't enough to live off of. You had to take matters into your own hands if you wanted enough food to survive.
But how did you catch them? With your bare hands?
That might take a while. Fish are prone to swim away at the first sign of trouble. I'd put bait or a lure on a line and use it with a fishing rod. You must not be familiar with fishing if this sounds new to you. Here, let me show you how it's done. There we go. Boy, that's a bit of a letdown.
You take your fishing pretty seriously.
And that's all there is to it.
Wow. It seems like you need to have good reflexes to catch anything. I don't know if it's really for me. Kisara? I think I've seen enough.
Oh, sorry. I guess I'm just in my own little world when I go fishing.
Looks like we're going to be here for a while.
That's how fishing goes. You wait for a bite, and then the real battle begins. Miguel told me that different fish live in different regions, and you have to pick the right rod and lure for what you're hoping to catch.
But that doesn't change the fact it's a giant time sink.
Of course, each fish has its own unique flavor, too. And some of them are supposed to be extremely delicious.
When you put it like that, maybe it's worth me trying my hand at fishing after all.
You're just in it for the food.
I was hoping we'd get to fish during our travels. And it just so happens I made sure to grab my brother's old rod before I left Vicente. So, if you ever feel like fishing when we've got a little downtime, just let me know.
Good to hear. Thanks for showing us. Okay!
I hate
Hey.
Hmm?
Is it just me, or have those...
I know, right? But after everything that happened with Miguel, is it really any wonder?
Kinda puts a damper on the whole journey, though, huh? How long do you think they're gonna keep this up?
If it bothers you that much, why don't you ask them?
Why do I have to ask?
How come you walk together like that?
She really doesn't beat around the bush.
You mean Kisara and myself?
You hadn't noticed? You've been practically joined at the hip ever since we left Vicente.
I guess it's force of habit, most likely. I was always ready to protect him, should the need arise. It sort of came with the job description.
Right. From being in the Elder Menancia Guard. Although, Dohalim's pretty capable of defending himself, isn't he?
Having guards doesn't necessarily mean the one being guarded is weak. No one's perfect all the time.
Even so, it's not like they're entirely wrong, Kisara. You're no longer in my employ, after all.
I don't know. I mean, if it's what she's used to and you're both comfortable with it, then who are we to judge?
But she doesn't serve him anymore. It isn't normal for her to keep following him around like she still does.
You know, she's probably right. And a lot has changed over the last few days. I guess it wouldn't hurt to rethink our relationship in light of the new circumstances. Perhaps I'll give it some thought after all. Does that sound all right by you?
Of course.
You might want to stop asking his permission for every little thing while you're at it.
Sorry. It's not that easy, shaking off old habits. I'll probably need a little time to get fully used to it.
Something feels odd here. Be on your guard.
All right.
There's nowhere to run from my heart.
When he slows down, that's our chance!
It's like trying to keep up
Can't
with a
get out
wolf.
of this!
Let's get you on that. Reload!
Take this!
Lightning orb!
Blow away!
Air thrust!
Tear you no further!
Go talent storm!
The earth throbs in
Dance in
pain.
the wind!
Can't get out of this!
Into the shadows! Come in handy! Mega ray!
Leave the ensnaring to me.
Yeah! And
Bubbling to me! Take this!
Field!
Blow away! Now or never!
Annihilation!
In a bind?
Sleep now!
Take it!
This is
Raining flash!
Searing flame! Reloading!
Demon blast! Not done! Sharpwood flash!
Now!
Still!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
See you continue on in that vein.
Yes, my lady?
Something you wanted to say? Now! Redwell! Astral energy! Full throttle!
Got some interesting moves there, Dohalim. I'm glad you're on our side.
I'm simply glad to hear that I can make myself useful to you all. Huh?
What's wrong?
We seem to have come across some rather unusual objects.
What, you mean that pile of garbage?
No mere garbage, I assure you. Still, I've never seen anything shaped like it before. I'm intrigued.
Are you curious about this stuff, Rinwell?
Oh, Yeah. I think he might have found some old Danon relics. They look like the remains of a bunch of objects that disappeared after the Renans first invaded.
And yet here I am, holding them without so much as a second thought. I imagine the sight must be unsettling to you.
Not really, just that it must be nice to be a Renan who has time to indulge in stuff like that, unlike the rest of us.
Are you interested in this stuff too, Dohalim?
Charmed may be a better turn of phrase. I simply love objects that can give me a sense of what their maker was thinking, the history that went into their creation. You see, we Renans have hardly any such objects that trace back to our distant past.
I still don't understand what you two find so intriguing about it, though.
Why not? We're talking about our own culture here.
I get that, but it's not like this stuff is any use now, does it? It's just old. Real old.
Oh, but it does. Holding it in your hands like this, one can feel and engage with the distant past in a way no history book can ever accomplish.
I'll take your word for it. Well, seeing as it's Danon history, just make sure you're careful with it. All right, Dohalim?
But of course. That trip.
Did you see?
Sure did. The part where you swung and missed, right?
Not that part!
Visibility along this path will remain limited for some time. Take care not to get ambushed.
I'm surprised you know the terrain here so well. Lords don't strike me as having much time for wandering in the woods.
Sometimes I would take strolls along here when I wished to be alone.
You always did have a bad habit of disappearing without telling any of us guardsmen.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Dance in the wind! Glacial spear!
Inner vine!
Take this!
Airborne beast, my specialty.
You're finished!
Sleep now!
Pesky airborne scoundrels!
Sounds like a job for yours truly.
Nothing gets by me!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
See you continue on in that vein.
Yes, my lady?
Something you wanted to...
It's so hilly around here. I can feel my feet getting blisters.
That's mountain hiking for you. It can be pretty tough if you're not used to these sorts of trails.
I take...
Oh man, I hope I live long enough to regret this.
This one's all mine!
Here goes!
Take this!
One last dance in the wind! It's a duel of the... This one's got your name on it!
Action to action!
Here's a healing arc! Light astrolabe!
Here I come! Ready?
Pulling here!
We got flyers!
I've got this! Let a marksman handle it!
All yours!
Leave the enemy's arcs to me!
Prepare to be seen. No place here.
Here I come! I'm not in your dreams!
You picked the wrong fight!
I'm on!
You're mine!
These little ones are hardly worth our time.
Less talking, more pummeling.
Cut them apart for your heart.
In an instant!
This should come in handy when crafting weapons.
More Danon ruins here too, I see.
What were people even thinking back then? Trying to build anything around here.
Maybe they just...
Oh man, I hope I live long enough to regret this!
You're finished! Let the marksman handle this!
I'm free! Why can't they just sit still?
Sia, can you take care of them?
No sooner said than done!
Training splash! Swallow dance!
Sleep now!
You're mine!
Hey, that's This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
See you continue on in that vein.
Yes, my lady?
Something you wanted to say?
I'll finish you here and now!
Here's the evil! In here!
Eternal devastation!
Get on in there with the
You're mine! Shockwave slash! Double demon fang!
Let's keep our eyes on the prize.
I sure have built up a sweat with this hike.
Rest assured, we have reached the top.
I have a bad feeling about this. Confiscated!
Prepare to be
Smash you!
Radiant here! Raging cascade!
Ignite!
I'm
I'm
surrounded!
so good with Air Force targets!
Here I come!
Freaking
Shockwave slash! Blow away! An astral arch?
That's my cue!
Shut him down!
We are freaking invincible!
Alvin and the others truly are strong.
What about me?
Okay, here I go! Blow away!
You made quick work of us!
Want me to pick up your slack then?
Just pointing it out!
These little ones are hardly worth our time.
Less talking, more pummeling.
Cut them apart to your heart's content. Freeze Lancer!
The heavens must be smiling.
Guess I misread the landing. Still thinking about how to act around Dohalim?
That obvious, huh? Except I don't think I'll be changing much after all. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to stay his servant. However, I am going to treat him like a fellow comrade, the same way I would with you or anyone else. For as long as I can remember, I've spent my life protecting others. But isn't that what friends do too? Support and protect one another in times of need?
Which in the end pretty much means doing as you've always done, right? If that's what you're most comfortable with, I'm certainly not going to give you any grief over it.
Actually, I've been thinking about how I ought to act around you all as well.
Oh?
When I set out on this journey, it was to rid Eldaman and Sia of its enemies, and search for wisdom in the outside world. Wisdom that I could potentially put to use on my return. I'm grateful to you all for letting me tag along. But it got me thinking, what am I actually contributing by being here?
What are you talking about? You know how to hold a weapon, don't you? That's help enough.
Is it though? Sometimes I wish there was more I could be doing to pull my...
Oops, sorry about that. Jeez, I'm famished.
Now that you mention it, what do you guys normally do for food and meals when you're out and about on your travels?
What do you mean, what do we do? We find stuff to eat and eat it. So long as it's meat, I'm not fussy.
Eating what you like can be good for morale in the short term, but you need to think about your diet if you want to stay healthy.
Does that mean eating vegetables too?
Isn't that obvious?
It does, which I guess hasn't been happening up till now.
Yeah, to be honest, we could be eating better than we do.
Understood. In that case, I'll just have to make sure you're all staying healthy and eating right myself. Fortunately, I happen to know a thing or two about cooking as well.
You hear that, Law? Sounds like you'll be eating your greens after all.
What is it?
No, sorry, it's just... I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on all this.
It will do her good to have a project.
No, not Kisara. I meant you. Was there anything you wanted to add?
Me? Certainly you're not looking to me for culinary skill, I hope.
Typical Renan, leaving everything to someone else.
Rinwell, I don't think...
That said, should you need my skills on the battlefield, please rest assured I have no intention of shirking my responsibilities, regardless of who we may face.
I'm sure no one doubts that. Listen, guys, if we're traveling together, we should probably at least try to make an effort to get to know one another, don't you think?
I wouldn't get your expectations too high in that regard. Believe it or not, sometimes I'm not sure I even know myself all that well.
Hey, let's stop for a minute.
What's up? You already tired?
My armor's pretty heavy. I think I need a little rest.
I second that. All of this walking is starting to take its toll on me as well.
What? You don't look it.
We can't spare the time. There's places we need to be. Mahag-Sar's capital, Niez, is our destination right now.
But if one of us collapses, it will only serve to slow us down. And in your case, Alphen is the only one who could carry you. Best to rest while you have the opportunity.
Enough already! I need a break, so we're taking one.
I don't need you fretting over me.
Fretting? Hey, it's not like I'm...
Been looking for you.
For me? Why?
He's tough.
Who are you? You said you were looking for me. Why?
Beautiful, precious life.
What the...
That is all I desire.
Then why are we fighting? Who even are you?
Healing art! Radiant, here! Sleep now! The picture
Who the hell are you?
Bastard!
This guy's not normal!
His speed is unbelievable.
You mean he even surpasses a lord?
Here I come!
Dance in the wind! Here's the healing art! Feel! First aid! I'll be saving this one!
Now you see what I can do!
Raging Cascade! It's over! Spread! One more time! Here! Sleep now! Let's get you all tucked away!
Talon Hurricane!
Chronicles Field! Mega Ray!
I'm on it! Talon
Thunder Field!
Here I come! Not
Show me your
Whoa! Hey! One at a time!
Talon Hurricane!
Cascade Supernova! Raging Cascade!
Take this.
Mega Ray! Annihilation! I'm ready!
Enjoy.
Take this!
Fired up! Lightning
Hollow
Orb!
Dance!
Lightning!
I'll
Downfall!
tear you apart!
Hear me! Flame of Fury!
Fall.
Glacial Sphere! Here's the evil!
Is that all that you've got? Very well. Then die. A wretch like you? Till next time.
Shion, wake up, please!
Alphen?
Shion!
Thanks, but you're kinda crushing me.
Sorry.
It's okay. And so am I. It's not as bad as it looks.
Not bad. That's... Shion, we thought
I'm
you were...
fine. Really.
What the hell were you thinking?
Well, you were trying to protect me too, you know.
Yeah, but I have the sword. It's different.
It's not different. Besides, Never mind. It's nothing. Anyway, thank you.
But I didn't... Look, I'm just glad that you're...
Alphen?
Sorry.
That guy said he'd be back. I think maybe we should get moving before he returns, right?
Rinwell has a good point. We need to go. Shion, are you sure you're okay?
Shion, are you sure you're okay?
Yeah, I already applied some healing arts to it. It didn't even leave a scar.
But his sword went nearly straight through you.
I'm all right. Unless I've turned into some kind of ghost and I'm haunting you all right now.
No, I know you're not. It's just...
Look, I appreciate you looking out for me, but I'm fine, really.
There was also that strange light that appeared when Shion was stabbed. It seemed to make the enemy retreat when he saw it. Alphen, do you have any idea what it might have been?
A light? I don't know. I was kind of preoccupied with other things at the time.
Now that I think of it, between that light and the blazing sword, just what sort of person are you, Alphen? Can you use Danon astral arts like Rinwell, perhaps?
He wouldn't know, Dohalim. He doesn't have any memories from his past, remember? Besides, we should really be getting out of here.
I suppose you're right. Forgive me. We've almost reached Nias, the capital of Mahag Sar. With any luck, we'll find a place there for Shion to rest.